It will, in short, be the development of a new fourth television network, serving all the peoples of the 50 states that are this land.
If the federal government were to cut off funding for public broadcasting, the programs that so many of us cherish not only wouldn't disappear,
the secret government has no constitution.
They would have a better chance of surviving long into the future.
He had proposed that the airwaves belong to the people, a proposal that now becomes law, with President Johnson's signature on the Public Broadcasting Act.
In 1967, President Johnson established a system of government subsidies for public broadcasting that hasn't changed much in 50 years. The lion's share of federal money was allocated not to pay directly for programming, but to go to independent public television and radio stations that were established in every corner of a vast nation. Their main purpose has always been to distribute national content to their local communities. 50 years ago, maintaining a network of regional stations was the only way to ensure that every household had access to public television and radio content.
Distribution of the preceding program is a service of the...
In 1967, about 70% of government funding went directly to the local stations. 50 years later, that formula hasn't changed. Today, there are 1,400 public radio and television stations supported by the federal government. This method of distributing content hasn't only outlived its purpose. The regional stations have become an obstacle now that audiences have started watching and listening to public media in completely new ways.
Good evening, I'm Judy Woodruff.
And I'm Miles O'Brien.
The internet means that consumers can now access PBS and NPR content anywhere in the world and on their own schedules. And as audiences move online, the regional stations kept alive by the federal government simply aren't necessary anymore. But it's not just that they're a waste of money. The local stations are also making it harder for PBS and NPR to fully embrace the internet.
Anyone without much capital investment can make a podcast, put it on a server, and get a worldwide audience for it.
Take the advent of podcasting, which was a singular opportunity for NPR to capitalize big on a new way of distributing its rich content.
Thanks for listening to the NPR Politics Podcast.
Today, NPR publishes many of the top podcasts, but in the interest of self-preservation, the regional stations have also created obstacles. For example, NPR show hosts are forbidden from promoting podcasts on the radio or from even mentioning NPR's popular smartphone app. Station opposition is also the reason that podcast listeners can't download episodes of NPR's two top programs. Recently, some of public radio's most talented show hosts and producers have been leaving to go work for private podcasting ventures. One reason to leave, says NPR defector Adam Davidson, is that podcasters have a creative freedom that NPR's institutional friction simply can't allow. The fact is that without federal subsidies, the programs themselves would be more likely to thrive. About 40% of funding for public broadcasting comes from private contributions. For public radio, it's about 60%. Without the massive overhead cost of 1,400 local public radio and television stations, that revenue would more than cover the cost of producing the programs and then distributing them for free online. And yet fans of PBS and NPR might ultimately be better served if they were to privatize and charge a monthly subscription fee, moving in the same direction as the rest of the media. Either way, ending federal funding not only won't destroy the only thing that's worth saving about public broadcasting, it could very well be its salvation.